Today I'm going to be updating you on a number of different products that I have reviewed and featured on my channel over the past several weeks. A lot of my videos have been first or second impressions, so I wanted to take the time today to go back through some of the newer products that I've been trying and just update you on my thoughts as I've had a chance to try them more, wear them in different ways, and formulate some more complete thoughts on these items. So if you'd like to see that, just keep on watching. Let's start out with Complexion. So the first product I wanted to update you on is the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Complexion Drops. When I did my review on this, it was, I think, only my second time wearing these. I was kind of on the fence about this product. So I've now had the time to test this out more. I wasn't having a very good skin week when I was trying this out at first, and I've had a chance to test it out now when my skin is in not so great of a state and when it's been in a little bit of a better state where I'm happier with the way it looks. And I can conclude that I like this for when my skin is already looking and feeling pretty good. I don't like it so much. I don't find it very useful when my skin is not doing so well, when I'm in a state where I'm not so happy with it. So I mentioned in my original review of this that I felt like I wasn't getting much coverage from it. It's a very light coverage, but I suggested that perhaps if your skin was in a better, kind of more even state overall to begin with, then it might seem like you get a little bit more coverage from this, and that was the case. So I found that when I'm already having a pretty good skin day, when I'm not having too much unevenness, I'm not having too much kind of irritation and redness, this actually does give a beautiful kind of all over tint and further evening out to the skin, and it gives a really beautiful finish as well. It makes your skin look very healthy. It has a beautiful dewy kind of fresh finish, and it does give you that kind of like just had a facial type of look. You could certainly wear this as your only product if you didn't really want to wear any other makeup. It's good for that because it is very light coverage, so it's not going to necessitate you adding more color back into your face if you put this all over. I find often, like if you're putting a more medium coverage type of product all over your face, or even a light medium, I find it's really necessary for me to go back in and at least add some blush, maybe a little bit of bronzer, because the base product will kind of just take away any natural color in your skin. This is more going to give you a thin veil, a light evening out, and make your skin look really naturally healthy. I also often like to use very light coverage skin tint type products as an all over base and then go in with concealer over top in those certain areas where I feel like I need more coverage. And that technique works all right with this. I found the Monica Blunder Cover is my favorite product to pair with it. And in general, that Monica Blunder product is overall my favorite type of product to do that with, to pair it with a very light coverage skin tint. The textures just seem to work together very well, and it gives a really nice, natural, fresh look to the skin overall. But the Monica Blunder is able to give you that bit more coverage that a skin tint isn't really going to do. So basically, I like this when my skin is already looking pretty good, but I don't find that it brings my skin kind of back to life if I'm having a bad skin day. This isn't the type of product I would go to for that. And overall, I'd have to say, I don't really think that this is worth it. It's quite expensive. Maybe if the skincare ingredients in here are something that really appeal to you and really work well for your skin, maybe then it's worth it if you're kind of thinking of it as truly a skincare makeup hybrid. But I tend not to rely on makeup for any type of skincare, and I don't find that this has really done anything positive or negative for my skin in terms of the skincare components of it. So I just don't quite think it's worth it. I think you can get other products that will give a similar effect to this at a bit of a lower price point, and maybe even with a little bit more coverage, something that's going to do more for you on those days when you're not feeling so great about your skin. Something like I mentioned in my review of this as well, the Ritual Defy foundation drops. Again, I don't think those have been released yet, but because I had ordered them in kind of a pre-release, I've had those for several months now. And I much prefer those to these because I find them longer wearing. They give a little bit more coverage, but they give a similar kind of fresh, dewy, healthy skin look at a bit of a lower price. The other complexion product I wanted to update you on is the Patrick Ta Foundation and Powder Duo. It's called the Cream Foundation and Finishing Powder Duo. I have mine in the shade Fair 2. I gave this a fairly positive review, and I have to say I've only come to enjoy this more as I've continued to use it. I just think it's a very easy product to use. The cream is so creamy and kind of emollient feeling, but it sets down to more of a kind of satin finish. It gives a medium coverage, like a solid medium coverage, and it seems to give my skin a really perfected look when I use it. I'm always kind of surprised when I look back in the mirror as the day goes on when I'm wearing this to see how good the quality of my skin looks. The coverage I find stays really nicely for probably about 6 to 7 hours, and it just has a little bit more of that coverage and long wear feel throughout the day than a lot of the base products that I tend to use. I do like to go in for a skin tint type of thing and just kind of boost it with concealer often. And on a day-to-day basis, I'm often not wearing like a medium coverage foundation all over my face. But this is one of those ones that is easy enough to apply on an everyday basis, but is gonna give you a little bit more of that coverage and kind of security on your skin. And I think the finish is beautiful. I think it wears beautifully. The powder I find works very well with it. I don't find myself wanting to reach for any of my other powders when I'm using this one. And so for those reasons, I really feel like this is a great product, and I see myself using this a lot more as time goes on. I wanted to quickly update you on the Chanel Oversized bronzer. I've just continued to love this. I think this is a really great bronzer. I love the tone of it. It's kind of a lighter, warm peachy shade, but I don't find it pulls orangey at all. It's actually the bronzer that I'm wearing today. It's really nice and buildable, lightweight, and just a pleasure to use overall. So I've continued to enjoy that one a lot. And then another bronzer I wanted to quickly mention, I'm actually going to be updating you more on this in a later video this week, but I just wanted to mention the Merit Cream Bronzer. I've continued to really love this one as well, but I'll share more about that in a video coming up later in the week. And from bronzer, let's move into blush and highlighter. First up, the Natasha Denona My Dream Cheek Trio. I've continued to really enjoy this. I'm also wearing this on my cheeks today. I think all three components of this work very well together. I continue to prefer wearing it the way I applied it in my review video of this. I like to go in first with the powder highlighter, then with the blush, and then with the cream highlighter to just tap on a little bit of a finishing effect over top. And then if I feel like I need a little bit more blush, I can always go back in and just top that up a little bit. The textures in here are beautiful. It gives a beautiful natural but kind of elevated glow and flush to the skin. And I feel like it makes my skin look really healthy. The colors work really well on an everyday basis. These are the types of colors that will kind of go with any type of look. So I've continued to really enjoy using that. And then the other blush I wanted to mention is the Suqqu Melting Powder Blush. This is the shade Karenzaki, and I've also continued to love wearing this. I feel like this pairs really nicely with the cheek trio as well. Actually, I topped up my cheeks with a little bit of this over top of everything from the My Dream Cheek palette today. And I just feel like this is a great everyday, slightly warm, but very kind of light, easy to wear color. The texture is beautiful with that little bit of a glow to it. So this has also remained pretty heavy in the rotation since I got it. Since we're talking about Suqqu, I'll bring up the eyeshadow palette that I got at the same time as that blush. This is the shade 117 Acciore, and I've also continued to love and enjoy this quite a lot. I especially love the pinky shade in here for an everyday type of like all over shimmer on the eye, but I still feel like the green is really special. And if you wanted a more kind of muted, wearable, but still colorful look, this green is really perfect. And the other two shades in here play with the other shades really nicely as well. Let's move into the rest of the Natasha Denona My Dream collection that I have. The eyeshadow palette, I've worn this most days since I got this palette, so that tells you something. I just love how I can do an everyday look. I can do a very kind of basic, almost no makeup type look, especially using that Nurture shade there. It's just a really nice kind of neutral, shadowy shade that I can put all over the lid to just add a little bit of definition to my eyes without really adding much drama or anything like that. But you also have the ability to go into so many different looks, from subtle to more smoky and more dramatic. I'm wearing this palette on my eyes today, and I don't have a tutorial of this look because I basically just followed Angelica Nyquist's video where she reviewed this palette. Her first look is basically the look that I have on my eyes today. I watched her review of it and loved both the looks that she did with this palette, and I wanted to just try that first look on my own. So that's exactly what I did today. I'll link her video below if you want to see how this eye look was done. And the lipstick from the My Dream collection, another one that I find myself continuing to go to. It works really well with the palette, so it makes sense that since I've been wearing the palette so much, I've been going to the lipstick so much as well. I just like that it's kind of a light nude shade, a little bit pinky, a little bit mauvey. It's just a little bit cooler than a lot of the nudes that I tend to go for on an everyday basis, but it still manages to work for me. So I've really been enjoying that, and the texture is lovely on this, and I find that it wears really nicely for a satin lipstick. A quick update on the new shades of the Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lyrics eyeshadows. As I suspected, the one that I've been going for most is the shade Emily. This is just so easy to throw on. You just put it all over your lid. I like to put a little on my lower lash line as well. I find that I feel comfortable with this even without mascara. A lot of the time on an everyday basis, I'm not doing like a full out makeup look, but I still like to have a little bit of kind of definition and color. And I find that this just works really nicely to give that little bit of definition. It's fun to have something sparkly and reflective going on, even if you're not doing a really full-on makeup look. And I've been really enjoying this one for that purpose. And I just have two products left that I wanted to talk about. Both are eyeshadow palettes. The first is the Gucci Gorgeous Flora eyeshadow palette. This is another that I have continued to really enjoy. I haven't worn it as much lately since I've gotten the new Lisa Eldridge and the new Natasha Denona palette. I've really been going for those. But before those came in, I was going to this quite frequently, kind of similar to the way that I've been going to the My Dream palette, just for like everyday kind of light definition and a little bit of fun kind of shimmer if I feel like it. I feel like the mattes in this are really great for doing that type of thing. This shimmery shade right here is also just great for an everyday type of look. It's not going to give too much contrast, but it's going to give a nice kind of warming and a little bit of a shine. I also just really loved the look that I did with this in my review video of this, and I've actually recreated that look as well. For a birthday party that I went to in August, I simply recreated that look and just loved it. It was great for a kind of late summer party, but I feel like these tones can move really nicely into autumn as well. So that's my update on the Gucci palette. And last but not least is the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction. This is another one, kind of like the Gucci. I haven't gone to it basically since I've gotten the Natasha Denona palette. But prior to that, I was going between this and the Gucci one quite a lot. Probably more into the Gucci one just because this does, I find, give more dramatic looks. So it's not as functional on an everyday basis for me, but I've still enjoyed it quite a lot. And I'm looking forward to using this more into the fall and winter, kind of as those darker, smokier, dramatic looks feel more appropriate in those seasons. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I always love to see those. If you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would love for you to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.